switch off your video to avoid any kinds of inconvenience. Thank you. So, good morning, everyone, and hello. I'm Gayatri Kanama, and on behalf of Ryan Publishers, it's my greatest pleasure in welcoming you all to today's one-day international webinar on the topic Advances in Material Physics. The participants can post your queries and clarifications in the chat box, and I would also like to inform you that the feedback form for today's seminar would be sent to your respective mail IDs of the registered participants. It's now time to get into the session, and joining with us today is Dr. Ala Shivani. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Ala Shivani is currently an associate professor in the Department of Science and Humanities, Physics at VVIT, Andhra Pradesh. Our resource person has completed her Doctor of Philosophy in Material Physics and has obtained her Doctor of Science in 2 consecutive years in 2 different universities in the area of material sciences. Coming to her work experience, Dr. Shivani has started in the year 2004 and since then has rendered continuous service in various designations across various colleges and universities. She has around 16 years of academic experience and is still going. Our resource person is a proud recipient of 12 awards, of which a few notable awards are Best Researcher Award, Best Women Scientist Award, Best Educationalist Award, and so on. Focusing on the area of research publications, Dr. Shivani has presented around 23 papers in national and international journals. Consolidating her dedication towards her career, our resource person maintains a record of having done 31 conference presentations, 114 educational courses, and 120 webinars. We are extremely honored and delighted to have such an insightful person amidst us. Thank you very much for joining us today, ma'am, and the session is now yours. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Welcome to all the participants for our today's international webinar, Advances in Material Physics. Now, our today's area is about what are the advances in the material physics. And also thank you to the Rayon Publishers and the affiliation my college and also the support given by my family. Now, our present topic is advances in the material physics. Present world, we have some objectives how to deal with these materials. There is requirement of the materials both in the long wavelength and also in the short wavelength regions. So, we term the long wavelength region as the infrared radiation detectors and short wavelength as the UV detectors. And there is also the need of materials for acting as both light transmitters and also as the receivers. So with the help of this additivity principle, we can able to calculate the material properties even at very small concentration range. So with the help of this principle, we can able to calculate all concentration ranges. So with modifying the properties, we can use the materials for wide applications. So with the help of developing these semiconductor materials, with the help of this ternary concept, we will use the materials in all broad ranges of applications. Now, we discuss about this material physics from origin to advanced stage. Origin, everyone is familiar with the elemental semiconductors. So they are in the elemental form, but later advances in the material physics is in compound material forms. So this compound materials starts from the binary semiconductors, later advanced to the ternary semiconductors, later advanced to the quaternary semiconductors. So material physics has huge broad range of areas. So among that we are discussing in certain area where there are huge applications in our modern technology. So the main prominence of choosing these materials is due to their band gap. So this is one of the most important property which we can use the material in the application orientation. Now, the advantages of the wide band gap. Wide band gap materials they can withstand even at very high temperatures. Due to that, we can use the materials in space applications. So the materials having high thermal conductivity. Due to their high thermal conductivity, we can use for all the defense applications. So this materials has high physical stability, and this materials also has high chemical stability. So due to their strong chemical stability, we can use them in the synthesis of the present generation chemical materials, and they also has physical stability. So with the help of this strongest measure, we will use these materials for light detection and also for the emission. Now, let us see for the origin of this material physics from origin to the last, that is advanced stage. We are all familiar first with the elemental semiconductors. They belongs to the group 4. So, familiar with examples germanium, silicon and also the carbon. But even though they have vast applications, again next research is continued in binary and the next compound form, because this materials has indirect band gap. So to overcome this indirect band gap, present generation all the research is going on in this compound semiconductor forms. So the possible combinations of these compound semiconductors is group 4 to 4 combination, because everyone aware of the tetravalency of the semiconductors. So single element has tetravalency, but for binary, if we combine two semiconductors, their group of tetravalency is 8. So to get valency as 8, we can combine two 4-group semiconductors, or 3 and 5 combine valency 8, or 2 and 6 combine valency is 8. So in this recording sector, in group 4 to 4, so the prime prominent semiconductors in this case is silicon and germanium and silicon and carbide. Next, another form of this semiconductor is 3 to 5 group. Best examples: indium phosphide, gallium arsenide, gallium nitride. So this is combination of 1/3 group and 1/5 group elements. Another possible combination of this binary semiconductor is 2 to 6 group. So in this 2 to 6 group semiconductors, mercury telluride, cadmium selenoid and zinc sulfide. Next one, this is binary form. Later, if we tune the material properties to binary to the ternary, then we are getting the best properties and also the application orientation. So because of this conversion from binary to the ternary, applications has been expanded. When compared to that of elemental, binary has huge applications, and when compared to that of the binary elements, when compared to that of binary compounds, ternary and quaternary semiconductors has huge applications. Now, ternary is the combination of the 3 elements. So it 3 to 5 group, or it may be either 2 to 6 group. So in this ternary group, one of the element is mercury, cadmium and telluride. So in that, 2 of the elements is from 3rd group and 1 of the element is from the 5th group. So that is according to the valency or according to their bonding. Later, next element, aluminum, gallium and arsenide. In combination, this is one of the ternary group. Again, next extension and next advance in this materials is quaternary group. So in this, we will synthesize the material with the help of 4 elements: indium, gallium, arsenic and phosphorus. In this concept, 2 of the materials are from the 3rd group and another material is from the 5th group. So whatever may be the materials which we are synthesizing here, they belongs to either 3 to 5 group or 2 to 6 group. This is one of the best leading and one of the most significant material research area. That is usage of the semiconductor materials in multidisciplinary applications. Now we are discussing about advantage of using this material in our present technology is their band gap. So we are familiar with band gap only for elemental semiconductors, but if we consider about this compound semiconductors, they has wide band gap. So the advantage of this wide band gap when compared to germanium and also the silicon is due to this wide band gap, it is able to operate at any temperature applications. So this wide band gap materials also exhibit direct band gap. So direct band materials are perfect light emitters. So we can tune the band gap at any particular range. And this materials also has high bonding with respect to 11.5 electron volts. Due to that, they have hotness to the radiation. This materials has very high melting point at about 2200 degrees centigrade, and this material is used for high temperature applications. So even though there is very harsh conditions of the chemical environments, these materials can withstand. And another advantage of these materials is they are good thermal conductors, so they can transmit heat energy easily. Next, and there are extension in these properties for these materials. So these materials has very strong piezoelectric nature and also electroacoustic properties. If we compare about the semiconductors in the form of elemental form, they are used only for specific range of applications. We cannot extend them for any broad range of applications. So because of tuning of the three different elements with different electronegativity values, due to that the material's strength will be get increasing and application is also get extension. So due to connecting this material to the devices, so these materials emit photons efficiently and they can also detect the photons. So another advantage of using these compound materials, the advances in the material physics is, if we use germanium and silicon, they are only detectable about visible light, but they cannot extend to other than visible light, that is either UV or IR ranges. So with the help of this semiconductor advances into the compounds, this can be useful both in the UV region and also in the infrared radiation. And this materials has very efficiency of the high power. They can generate high power when compared to that of the previous what the materials has been invented. So one of the best advantage of these materials to be useful in industrial applications is they are very useful at application of high temperatures. They can withstand even the radiation is imposed, and also for the chemicals. This is one of the greatest advantage of present objective of the material sciences. And next one, according to the environmental reaction, so this materials is also applicable to the biomaterials concept and also for the gases and also for any strains that will be occur to that materials. Now various application orientation for these materials is we can use them in optoelectronics and also in UV electronics, power electronics. Both of them are optoelectronics, but this is for visible and this is for UV. If we prepare a device with the help of elemental semiconductor, we can operate them only for the visible light. But if we prepare the device with the help of this compound semiconductor, we can use them in beyond the visible range, that is the entire spectrum ranges. Now, we can use them in the LED sectors also. We are familiar with LEDs, light emitting devices. So the materials which are perfect light emitters only can be used for preparation of these LEDs. So perfect light emitters has direct band gap. Due to that, the efficiency of the device will be get modified. Later, photonic lattice. So when we are discussing about the external emission of the material, that depends upon the strength of the lattice inside the materials. This is the photonic lattice LED. Next one, we can use this visible optoelectronics for the nanowire LEDs and also for the lasers. So we are familiar with the nanotechnology, and these semiconductor materials can also be used for the preparation of the thin films in the nano size ranges. Now, after learning about visible, let us extend our knowledge to the UV. So this is one of the first aluminum gallium nitride LED. So LEDs can be prepared with ordinary elemental and also in the compound, but there exists a difference in that is said to be the due to tuning of the band gap, all compound semiconductors work efficiently. So we can choose that at particular wavelength, at which particular wavelength there is perfect light intensity. So wavelength can be tuned and also the perfect concentration of the doping element can also be tuned here. Next one, we can prepare that these LEDs in the form of the nano size ranges, that is about 280 nanometers size range. Next one, we are familiar with optical pumping and electrical pumping. Now we are discussing about optical pumping laser action. So during this optical pumping laser action, we can operate these devices at about 930 nanometer size range and also at 339 nanometers size range. So beyond the visible light, we have UV light and also the infrared radiation. In that again there exist ranges, that is deep UV size range. So by tuning the doping element, we can modify the range from 350 nanometers to 360 nanometers size range. So usage of these compound semiconductors in the power electronics, this we can use them as the power amplifiers. Next one, present nowadays we have the option to get new modeling of the materials and also for the characterization. So this is one of the example for the advanced modeling and also for the characterization. So generally when we are preparing about the lasers, we are discussing about lasers are monochromatic light. So lasing action can also be possible with the help of these semiconductor devices, and for characterization purpose of these materials, we use transmission electron microscopy for all this binary, ternary and later quaternary semiconductor materials. Later, we can use this spectroscopy also to detect that whether the material has direct band gap or indirect band gap materials. Now, what is the usage of these wide band gap materials for the power electronics? So these are the properties which are useful to detect whether the material is best useful for the electrical applications and also for the optical applications. So generally, if we consider about ordinary metals, they are useful for only for the electrical applications. If we take about optical materials, we will use them as optical devices. But if we consider about the semiconductor materials, we can use them for electrical applications and also for the optical applications. So the concept which explains about both optical and also the electrical is optoelectronics branch. So these are the changes what was material physics from starting origin silicon to later in the advanced stage. If we consider about the silicon, we get the band gap only 1.1. Later advances in the material physics, that band gap has been modified from silicon to gallium arsenide as 1.43 electron volts. Later, this is another category of the silicon carbide. This is one of the compound semiconductor. We got the band gap, that is 3.3. Later for gallium nitride, 3.4 electron volts. Aluminum nitride, 6.2 electron volts size range. So highest band gap is for nitride materials when compared to that of other materials. That's why all nitride materials are used for high temperature applications. Next one, what is the concept of the electric field from origin to the last advanced stage? So for first, when the origin of the material physics started during the elemental form, we get that electrical field which can be applied per centimeter is only 0.3. But the last stage at the present for aluminum nitride is 11.7. This indicates that every material properties get modified and advanced from elemental form to the compound form. Later, saturated electron velocity is also increased from 1.0 to 1.4. Later, thermal conductivity. So we are discussing about all physical properties of electrical, optical and also thermal because of the advantages and also the advances of usage of the semiconductors at various size ranges, at various temperature applications, and also for the electric field. We are familiar that if high strength of the electric field is applied, automatically breakdown occurs and the material becomes insulated. But due to the behavior of our semiconductor materials, both as insulators and also the conductors, they can withstand at both environmental conditions of both pressure and also for the temperatures. Later, this is WBC, wide band gap. So this enables the applications which cannot be possible with the silicon, that is the elemental semiconductor. So this is the decreasing of the TRL, what we are describing in terms of the line spectrum from elemental to the compound semiconductors. This is the transmission which we have been considered about the concept. So now we are discussing about the mid band gap semiconductors. So they has the large band gap, so they can withstand even at very high temperatures. Next one, due to their critical electric field which has been very high, due to that, we can operate these materials even at the higher voltages. Next one, higher saturating electron velocity. So everything what we discussed now, everything is a application orientation from large band gap to aluminum gallium nitride to heterostructures. Later, these materials has high thermal conductivity. So because of them, we are using these materials for high power application. And these materials has tolerant to the radiation. So because of that, we are using these materials in the stable devices. So they are flexible for all environmental conditions. Now, aluminum nitrate, gallium nitrate and indium nitrate, these three are the binary semiconductors. We are forming this in a single structure. This is called heterostructures. If we combine different materials of same homogeneous structure, if we combine about different materials, we termed as heterogeneous structures. So present leading advantages for these heterogeneous structures. So due to increase of the element in a particular device, because of their atomic number increase, their electronegativity will be modified and their chemical bonding was also strong. So based upon all these properties, we can use them in multidisciplinary applications. Now we are discussing about nanofluid properties also in addition to the semiconductors. So the nanofluid properties which we discuss here are density, specific heat, thermal conductivity and viscosity. So all these properties are general properties, but we are using them to detect the parameters of the nanofluids. So we are considered this as the particles, that is said to be the nanoparticles. In these nanoparticles, we will discuss about the concentrations, size and the shape of the properties and the materials of each type. So in addition to the advanced materials, we are discussing now what are the various forms. We are familiar with the nanoparticles as various advantages and also these semiconductors have various advantages because we are using for the heat transfer. So we are discussing about density because of mechanical properties of the material plays major role to offer them for a device. Later, learning about specific heat decides that how much resistance the material to the heat. Next one, we are learning about thermal conductivity because of the how much the material is transferable to the transmission of the heat energy. Later, these are fluids. That's why we are discussing about the viscosity. So what are the resistance to the layers movement? Now, these compound semiconductors, first they started with the silicon. At that time, we can use them for integrated circuits. And we will use this for wireless networks. And we will also use them for the photonic applications and also for the electronic applications. So in three areas. So usage of a single material in these three areas is not possible for any other material except semiconductor material. So it is cost effective. Use a single material for all branches. And later we will use them for the packages. So for packaging of the devices and also the modules. And next one, we will use them in the subsystems. So in the subsystem, we are useful for these devices. That is circuit boards, printed circuit board, and also this modulation technology. So most probably we are using this for all integrated systems, that is integrated circuits. So We use this silicon for the compound semiconductor. That means silicon combining with germanium or silicon combining with other materials. These are the advantages. So we will use them for transmission of information, that is in communication sector. Later in the healthcare. So usage of these materials in biological, in medical physics also is helpful. And next one, we can use these materials in the aerospace, that is aeronautical applications. And next one is fingerprint scanning for security purpose. Next one, we will use this material when we combine other elements that the compound form as IoT applications. And another advantage of thing in both sectors is energy is efficient. And we will use them in operation of robots, that is robotics. Later, automotive sector. So that is not a single. If we start to implementing them in the application, we can use them in all sectors because of three multidimensional applications of electrical, optical, thermal. Now, nanostructures, that is, we can prepare magnetic nanostructures also. So this is one of the leading existing technology present, and also there is exist lot of future in nowadays. Now, we can synthesize these magnetic nanostructures in three ways. We can synthesize in the form of chemical, we can synthesize in the form of physical, and also in the biological. So in the chemical, we can synthesize by liquid phase and chemical deposition. And also in the liquid phase, we can synthesize as co-precipitation and also by thermal decomposition methods, sol gel methods, and next one microemulsion reactions, and also microwave assisted synthesis. While synthesizing the materials, so microwaves are used in some of the cases, methods. Next one, we can also use them for the chemical purpose. Later, CVDs, chemical deposition. So this is one category, and deposition is another category. So in the deposition, that is chemical vapor deposition and chemical etching. These are all chemical preparation methods. Later, physical methods. So in these physical methods, first one is sonochemistry. Sonochemistry is mixed both with the physical methods and also with the biological methods. The name itself, sono, means we are using sound, ultrasonic sound. So it is sonochemistry. Later, microwaves. By imposing the microwaves on the materials during synthesis, that is microwave irradiation techniques. Later, we can use lasers, pulse laser ablation method. And also we can use for the fluids, that is supercritical fluids. And we can also use this physical method for the preparation of the plasma and also for ball milling to generate the higher sparking technique. These are all biological methods. So in this sector, the next one is biological methods. One is sonochemistry linked, and the next methods are plant mediated techniques, fungi mediated techniques, bacteria, and also the protein mediated techniques. So usage of a single material, that is magnetic nanostructure, in three different categories indicates that study of material in single area is only very vast range of research, and we can do the multidisciplinary cases when we are discussing about these advanced materials. Now, already we discussed about the previous case, that is about synthesis magnetic nanostructures. Same. Synthesis magnetic nanostructures, they can be prepared by three methods already we discussed, by physical, chemical, and also the biological. Another advantage of these nanomagnetic structures is not only physical, chemical, and biological, we can study in the range of physico-chemical also. Combination of both the physical properties and also the chemical properties. So we already discussed that physical methods are all these which we can prepare. These are all the chemical methods. Now combination of physical plus chemical, that is pyrolysis. This is one of the best method which can detect both physical properties and also the chemical properties. Later, sono-electrochemistry method. So sono-electrochemistry method, sono, which we are using the sound, and also application of both the sound and also the electricity to detect about the chemical synthesis of the materials. Later, solid grinding method. Now, we are discussing about the semiconductor alloys in all cases from historical survey to the last present stages itself. So already know aware of that three materials. They are binary case, ternary and also the quaternary. Difference in the semiconductor alloys is here we are synthesizing with 2 elements, 3 elements, 4 elements. Later, importance of these materials, we will use them in the optoelectronic devices. So, optoelectronic devices take input as optical energy and they will give output as the electrical energy. So, opposite, taking it as the photodetectors also. So, in addition to the optoelectronic device, we will use these materials to detect the light. So, to detect the light, there are ranges. If we use material with only elemental semiconductor, we will use them only for detection of visible light. If we consider compound semiconductor, we can detect all ranges of ultraviolet light, visible light, and also the infrared radiation. So that is the advantage of compound semiconductor when compared to the elemental semiconductors. Now this is called as a solid solution. It's a solution of 3 elements. Solution means it is not exactly liquid. We are saying that it is a combination of the 3 elements. So this is a formula for combination of the 3 elements in this compound semiconductor. So here X indicates the concentration of the dopant into the material and the replacement element, that is B. X is the concentration range during the synthesis of the material. So because of 3 different elements, they has different refractive index and also the different energy gap. So if we consider each element has its own refractive index and its own energy gap. Now, properties which are studied in this one: structural properties, optical properties, electrical properties. Structural properties. We can use this for TIMS formation with MBE, molecular beam epitaxy method. So this is prepared in high vacuum condition. Next one, with this molecular beam epitaxy, which we will prepare the thin films, that is useful in LEDs, semiconductor diodes, heterogeneous bipolar transistors, solar cells. All these.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Optoelectronic applications.
Ma'am, 1 minute. Sorry to interrupt. Ma'am, I think your screen is not fully visible, ma'am. Can you expand your screen?
Now, ma'am?
Ma'am, can you share your screen once again, ma'am?
What, ma'am? Hello?
Ma'am, can you share your screen? Your screen is sharp.
It is now.
Ma'am, someone else is presenting there. No, ma'am, you have to share your screen. Can you try it once again?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. It's visible. Perfect.
Okay, thank you. So this is about the usage of this optoelectronic devices in the 3 ranges of ultraviolet, visible, and also the infrared radiation. Now, these are the structural properties we discuss for these materials. Now, first one is crystal lattice. With the help of this crystal lattice, we can determine the strength of the material. So, we will discuss here bonding about covalent bonding, ionic bonding, tetrahedral bonding, later structures, cubic structure, zinc sulfide structure, hexagonal crystal structure, Lutze crystal structure, and regarding the structural properties, we will discuss thickness and also the atomic size. First one, crystal structure. So this is mainly for elemental semiconductor, it has a small lattice. But if we take compound semiconductor, we are synthesizing the combination of the 3 elements. So due to that, the atoms which has been arranged, reorientation occurs with the help of this crystal lattice arrangement. Later, we know that every atom is interrupt with the neighboring atom with the covalent bonding. So the semiconductors has tetravalency, that's why they has tetrahedral bonding also, in addition to this covalent bonding. Later, ionic bonding, due to combination of three different elements with different electricities. So we has ionic bonding in addition to the covalent and also the tetrahedral. Semiconductors has ionic bonding. Later, regarding structure, we can prepare these materials in either cubical structures and also the hexagonal structures and also the Bruger structures. So the difference between this cubic, hexagonal and this Bruger crystal structures is, so some of the materials can be prepared in the form of cubic and hexagonal only, basing upon their electronegativity and also the atoms present. But some of the materials like nitrides, they can withstand even at very high temperatures. So that's certain type of materials basing upon electronegativity range that can be synthesized only in the Bruger crystal structures. Later, thickness and the atomic size. So when we combine about the 2 elements, 3 elements or 4 elements, so the changes in the properties of the structure is thickness and also the atomic size. So this one of the best advantage of learning about the atomic size. We can know that, so how the changes of the properties occurs from the elemental stage to the compound stage. So after learning about the structural properties, so how the material is synthesized, later we will learn about the optoelectrical properties of these materials. Optical properties. So when we add another group element, that is called as a foreign element to the particular element. So same group element, if we take, that is homogeneous structures. But here we are synthesizing heterogeneous structures also. So suppose if another element is added, these 3 properties will be get modified. First one is refractive index. We are familiar that light do not transmit with same velocity in all the mediums. Automatically, if a material changes, so basing upon their electronegativity change and the lattice, automatically light velocity also changes because lattice will get modified. So due to that, refractive index is modified in that materials. Later, polarizability. So polarizability means, already we discussed about molecular polarizability. So molecular polarizability will also be get modified when we are synthesizing the material from elemental form to the compound form. So later, absorption coefficient. So all materials do not have same absorption. So basing upon the doping, these materials, we can detect whether the material is very strongest in radiation absorption or not. So some of the materials has low absorption coefficient and the materials has high absorption coefficient. Basing upon this sector, we can choose which material has highest absorption coefficient. That should be useful for the preparation of solar cells because they can grasp lot of radiation from the sunlight. So highest absorption coefficient materials are useful for the synthesis of the solar cells. Electrical properties. So due to the effect of the dopant concentration into the material, so these are the one of the advantages. First one is energy gap. So energy gap, if the crystal lattice is been modified by adding another new elements into the lattice, automatically energy gap will be get tuned. So again, this is several categories. First one is narrow easy, low easy values, and so the wide easy values, that is more than 3 electron volts is considered as wide easy, less than 3 electron volts is considered as narrow easy. Later, direct easy. If conduction bands are in same energy axis, we say it as the direct easy. So if the materials has the direct easy, if valence and conduction bands are in same energy axis, then the elements can be act as the perfect light emitter. Indirect band gap materials are not working as the perfect light emitters. So basing upon narrow easy and wide easy, all narrow easy materials are useful for the best electrical applications because as their energy gap is low, electron easily transmit from valence band to the conduction band. So every energy gap has its own application. So narrow easy is useful for best transmission of electricity materials, narrow easy. Later wide easy. We use wide easy for high temperature applications. We use direct easy for perfect light emitters. So to detect whether the material has direct easy or indirect easy, we study both. So which materials has direct easy and materials has the indirect electrical band gap considerations. After learning about these three different sectors of these materials, so which has the highest efficiencies? All direct band gap materials has highest efficiency. So we will use them in optical applications, electric applications, and also in the optoelectronic applications. For optical applications, we will use them in the preparation of these LEDs, perfect light emitters. Next, in the electrical applications, we will use them in the preparation of the diodes and the transistors. Later, optoelectronic applications, we will use them for the preparation of the solar cells. So, let us take one example to verify all the properties. First one, let us example take it as aluminum gallium nitride. So, we have three elements. So, these is under ternary. If we have only one elemental, and if we have elements, two elements, that is compound, that is binary, in compound, that is binary, and if we are synthesized with three materials, this is called as the ternary semiconductor alloy. So it is nitride. Already explained that all nitrates has a crystal structure. This is hexagonally closed packing. Now, next we will use this for optoelectronic devices because it has high energy gap, and this semiconductor alloys has the conductivity ranges because of the strongest thermal conductivity. This metals has high melting points. So high melting point devices which can be used for the space, so they can withstand at high temperature and also for the radiation effects. Now we discussed previously about aluminum gallium nitride. So aluminum gallium nitride, in addition to optoelectronic devices, we will detect ultraviolet light and also field effect transistors, lighting devices, and also for the diodes. So diodes, LEDs, detectors, all are already familiar words, but we are discussing first in elemental semiconductors, later studying in binary semiconductors, later extension in the material physics, that is in compounds, in key, and also in the quaternary, quinary. There is no ending for the compound semiconductors. First they have started in elemental form, later research extended to the binary, later research extended to this ternary, and we can also extend this to quaternary, 4, later quinary, and so on. Basing upon their strength, we are synthesizing and we are extending these alloys. So this group 3 nitrates, we have three elements: aluminum, gallium, nitrogen. Here indium, gallium, nitrogen. Aluminum, indium, nitrogen. Here the dopant element is aluminum. Here indium. And in this alloy, aluminum. So because of this doping of indium, this alloy is useful in studying of band gap engineering. So we can tune the band gap so that the device can be used in the engineering applications and also in optoelectronics. So diodes. So all
Dr. Shivani, am I audible? Dr. Shivani, are you in the meeting? Am I audible? Thank you, participants. Thank you for your patient listening. I'll be posting the feedback form in the chat. Please fill it. Thank you, everyone. Dr. Shivani, am I? Dr. Shivani, am I audible? Can you hear me?
Ma'am, it is visible now.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible. I think you left the meeting.
Okay, it's about the refractive index. So every even in primary and also in technique or also in quaternary, so every element refractive index plays role. So that's why we have considered each element refractive index, whether we prepare in binary and also in the ternary form. So every element refractive index will be considered as finite element refractive index consideration. So study about this refractive index indicates that this is a study about what is the effect of the materials. So if the wavelength decrease, what are the changes in the refractive index of the materials? And we will correlate the properties of wavelength, refractive and also the energy gap when we are studying about this compound semiconductors. So energy also increase when we tune from semiconductor from elemental to the compound form. So study about refractive index, polarizability and energy gap is the usage of these methods for the best optoelectronic devices. And next for polarizability also, every element has its polarizability, and this is about the bonding of the two binary semiconductors to form a single ternary semiconductor. So this indicates that this is the polarizability of the final ternary alloy. This based on two binary semiconductors polarizability also. Already in the first class I said that this is the additivity principle which explains about how to study the material even when we have doped a small concentration of the dopant also. So with the help of this property, we will study what is the effect of the density when we have changed the element to the ternary. And then electric and magnetic fields. What is the effect of electric and the magnetic fields? Next one, dopant element. And also how the effect of the dipoles. So this will vary. So from highest ranges to low, all the properties will be get modified with the help of this. Next important property which we study for this optoelectronic devices is absorption coefficient. So we come across so many materials in regarding to the semiconductor materials. Every material do not has the same absorption coefficient. So the final material absorption coefficient depends upon the individual element absorption coefficient. So X is the element, and here density also plays major role because the change of density occurs when we change from the element to the compound. So this is one of the mechanical properties also being interlinked with optical and electrical properties. Now, with increase of the dopant element, automatically resistivity will be high and also the conductivity is also will be high in certain cases. And later resistivity will be low and also the alpha will also be low for some materials. Basing upon absorption, the values of this resistivity and also conductivity will be get added. Energy gap. So in addition to refractive index, optical polarizability, absorption coefficient, and also this energy gap. So the energy gap of a compound semiconductor depends upon the energy gap of the individual elements. So that is the extension of additive principle to get proper property at any particular dopant concentration. So study of energy gap so can be used to study about the what is the effect of temperature, electric field, and also the magnetic field. It is because we have to consider and the dopant concentration also changes the properties of the element. Let us study low atom doping, what are the changes in properties. If we go with the high atomic size, then what the changes. So study of the gap means use of the material in the energy gap to also energy gap of applications. This is the overall of this. So this is greater than most that this is low exciting because we are compared to the nitrogen. Charge is the aluminum due to energy gap is increased. That is increased. That is very so and HBT features. They are correlating, taking consideration of applications with the different alloys. Later, another important property we have studied is so what are the elements of consider corrosion also. Suppose if material has corrosion property, we cannot give material application. Thus, we are replacing the sodium with aluminum. So the remove corrosion property. And also, why the main form doping is stability when compared to top.
Dr. Shivani, you're on mute. Dr. Shivani, am I audible? Ma'am, you're on mute, ma'am.
Now, we are discussing about so we use them. So how to decrease using them for the device uptake and without getting this for it also so we will use them both in visible and also in correlation. And exam class matching, we will use them in the quantums. Here we will use them to detect faults for the preparation of lithium diodes. Later, to overcome the correlation, we are grouping with the aluminum stability. This is about overview of the ternary alloys. We can use them for the preparation of the modern LEDs. So generally, when electron is transmitting from valence band to conduction band, we will consider about transport piece. Later again, electron recombination with the hole, we are using them for the light emissions. We will use them for the preparation of UV, visible, and also for infrared. So using the so we get high brightness. Also, this will be useful for highest efficiency devices. So all direct energy band gap semiconductors are used for the preparation of these LEDs. And also all forward passed PN junctions can also be used for the preparation of light emitting devices. So the P-type and N-type layer finish, we can prepare them substrates so that we will use them for this is termed as efficiency. This is high for alloys. This is alloys. Now, so this is correlation with into and also atomic size. So because of the refractive index for the application of the IR wavelength. So these are the changes of low atomic number doping. We are considering them for application in the heterostructures and also for the quantum rays. So if the mobility decreased, then the energy gap is increased, and what is the alloy beyond the visible region, and we are doping these materials to overcome the portion of the existing materials. Next one, antimonides and the nitrate sulfides over less antimonide sectors. So antimonides also has their applications in all the sectors. Now we are discussed about 3 different cases of N material synthesis. So here we are discussing about the usage of these materials in the broad ranges of present optoelectronic devices. So after 3 to 5 consideration, now we are discussing about 2 to 6 group, that is sulfides, selenoids, and also the tellurides. Here also we will use these materials when we are studying about refractive index, polarizability, and absorption coefficient. We use them in broad ranges of these optoelectronic devices. Now, thin films. Where we use these thin films, which already we discussed now, nitrates, sulfides, selenoids, and also antimonides. We will use them for the preparation of thin film, which will be useful for both optical and also the chemical stability materials. We will use them for magnetic sector and also for electricity applications. We will use them as coating layers. Optical devices, coating layers, CD, coating devices, DVDs, and also we will use them for waveguides. So we can filter the light with respect to the particular wavelength in optical filters. Later in semiconductors, we are aware of the property diffusion. So the transport of the charge carriers inside the material depends upon the lattice. So, and also for corrosion protection. So due to the corrosion protection, we are replacing the corroded materials with the stability materials. So that is the main advantage and main objective of conversion of elements from elemental to the compound form, and we will use them in the sensors to detect and for oxidation protection. So this is the correlation of magnetism, spintronics and SQUETs, superconducting quantum interference devices. Now, these ternary alloys are useful for the remotes application. We can operate at particular wavelength. They has very high efficiency. They has long lifetime because of stability. They give high brightness, and small size materials are useful for the communication purpose and also for the power electronics. So we will use them for wireless communications and also for photo detectors. UV visible. Wireless communication means they can detect the radiation, semiconductor devices. We can prepare them overall applications, overall advantages. This is, we can use them as solar cells and LEDs. LED is application of light emitting and solar cell is not emission. Greatest advantage and so natural and because these are also important for science because you know that is a because this is correlated with both the material sciences and also in the engineering. 2 years back, we use materials that is titanium and in our human body. Next materials, we can use applications of body replacement parts. So already we are currently carbon, metals, elastomas and the plastics. This is artificial hip joints. We will use them titanium and also stainless steel materials. So what is the future of materials? So there is a future